When it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog's friends and companions, I think it's safe to say we're all pretty quick to get a little cynical, and I think it's because past their debut appearances and the stories that were made for them, Sega has found trouble finding things for these guys to do. Characters like Shadow and Rouge were originally conceived for one-and-done appearances, but have stuck around for the franchise, partially due to high demand from fans. Then we have characters like Knuckles and Tails, who are mainstays of the franchise, but even they find themselves being relegated to background scenery recently. No, this isn't going to be a video about why the writing in a children's video game franchise needs to be stellar, but instead we'll be looking at a Sonic character that got the shaft when he really didn't deserve it. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by NordVPN, and in the description of this video below you can see how you can get 4 months worth of free browsing by using discount code CHANNELPUP, so you can browse safer and more freely for less. Sonic Unleashed is considered the final Dark Era Sonic game, as it would mark the final time we would experience a series of tropes that many Sonic fans felt had dogged the franchise. This would be the final time we'd have a large-scale blockbuster storyline for Sonic. This was the final time a Sonic game would use hub worlds. This was the final time a Sonic game would include human characters other than Dr. Robotnik, and this was the final time Sonic would be battling against a giant monster instead of Dr. Robotnik for the final boss. This was the final time we'd get a gimmicky other version of Sonic to play as. You lie! And this was the final time Sonic would be accompanied by a new companion. Well, one that could talk. Sit down, Sonic Forces. And that character was Chip, well, I don't know what he is, but to be completely honest, I always thought he was some sort of evolved form of Chow, but fans seem to speculate that he was a Chihuahua, and sounds about right, Chip the Chihuahua. Now, to be honest, I don't fully understand the stigma of Sonic's new best friend trope. To be honest, it wasn't really a thing until Sonic 06 with Princess Elise, and considering that Sonic Unleashed is the immediate main series follow-up to Sonic 06, this would mean that this only happens in 2 games. Sonic cycle my ass. Heck, Sonic Unleashed was the game most cited in the Sonic cycle, an old meme that basically points out how Sega always ruined their better ideas with gimmicks and an abundance of new characters. But 06 aside, who were the new characters of Sonic Heroes? E123 Omega, and well, that's it, and he's a robot. There was always a new robot in a Sonic game, and I don't remember anyone having a problem with Sonic Adventure 1 and 2's new character casts, so this really just goes to show the sheer scale and fallout of Sonic 06, and how badly that impacted Sonic Unleashed. I mean, teamed with the idea of a Sonic game involving Sonic transforming into a werehog after dark, but am I the only one that doesn't hate that idea on paper? I mean, old school horror tropes in kids' entertainment are nothing new. Heck, I've seen Sonic fans criticizing the name werehog because the were part doesn't imply wolf but instead man, making him a manhog. Well, criticize this term. Children's video game. Children will understand what they mean, and it has a better ring to it than hedgewolf or wolfhog. So Sonic 06 brought us Princess Elise as our new companion for Sonic. The issue was that she was a totally humorless human princess there to spout exposition about the already overblown threat of the game, but perhaps the most egregious part of the game being that she formed something of a romantic connection with Sonic that did indeed reach a physical extent. Do I feel like Elise's relationship to Sonic does get a little blown out of proportion? Yes, I mean, it's not like she rode him on screen or anything, and I know some of you would love to see that, you dirty birdies. But my main issue is she's just not a very interesting or enjoyable character to have along for the ride, and her dialogue with Sonic just feels a bit confused and misguided. For Sonic's new BFF in Sonic Unleashed, we have Chip the Chihuahua. After our werehog Sonic was hurled back into a shattered Earth along with the dead Chaos Emeralds, he lands flat on his face next to the sleeping Chihuahua, who is clearly dreaming about food. Sonic worried he may have landed on him. The Chihuahua has no recollection of who he is or his name, but is initially frightened by Sonic's werehog form before, instead, just gently poking fun at it. The Chihuahua quickly gets a grasp of what's going on with Sonic when Sonic transforms back to his normal hedgehog self. I guess Chip being some kind of dog makes some sense as he is obsessed with food. Clocking this, Sonic dubs him Chip, a name that he really likes. So, while Sonic is on a mission to restore the Chaos Emeralds, pull Earth back together, and crush Dr. Robotnik, Chip has a goal of his own: to rediscover his memory. What makes this work well is that Chip is a guy with his own story going on and his own personal goal, which brings us more of an intimate character story amidst all the high-stakes nonsense of the world adventure that he and Sonic will embark on. Sonic and Chip's friendship dynamic is also very well fleshed out and believable because of how they go out of their way to help one another out. Sonic has his own goal, and it's arguably much more important: save the world like he always does, but he's still prepared to do this at a pace that works for Chip, and trying to help him get some answers about his past and who he is. The characterizations of Sonic and Chip are what make this work. They complement each other really nicely. Sonic's usually obnoxious personality is drastically dialed down and matured. The rad dude with an attitude is nowhere to be found in this story, with Sonic being a much more focused character, and there is a good reason for it. In the opening cutscene, we've got the Sonic we all know and love, playfully bantering Dr. Robotnik while battering his gargantuan battle fleet, comparing the badniks to toys. It's as Sonic as it gets, until the game becomes Sonic Unleashed. Game Apologist made this great point about Sonic 3 and Knuckles with its opening cutscene, how we have Super Sonic gliding to Angel Island, and how people familiar with Super Sonic will know just how powerful Super Sonic is, only for him to get punched out of his super form by Knuckles and have the emerald stolen. This really establishes Knuckles as quite a big deal for this story, setting up a tough antagonist that you'll be determined to take down. There's a parallel to this with Sonic Unleashed in how we show how powerful Sonic is and we show the super form, but then Robotnik's device snaps him straight out of it. And Sonic does go through a lot here. He's electrocuted, transformed into a werehog, he sees the Chaos Emeralds drained of their energy, a giant monster emerge from a now shattered Earth, and then he's thrown back down to said Earth by Dr. Robotnik. So naturally in this story, Sonic's not gonna be all like, "Oh yeah, this is happening. Whoa, baldy nose hair!" He's a bit more sobered up. This is probably the most Sonic has ever been put through in a very short amount of time, and one of the most immediate high-stakes situations that he's ever actually dealt with. So Sonic is strongly focused on his objective to save the Earth, but he's juggling that with looking out for Chip. So he's not goofing around and joking about with Tails. He and Tails are very much working things out and moving ahead, while Chip gets the chance to shine as the source of most of the levity for this story, with a lot of slapstick humor. So with Sonic's obnoxious personality being less present here, Chip actually gets the chance to play an actual role in all of this. Chip is well-meaning, but he's easily distracted. He wants to help Sonic out, but the second there's food on the table, he's off. He's the one that's commenting on everything he sees, and I think Sonic sees a little bit of himself in Chip for that. This immediate contrast between the two really accentuates how differently Sonic is behaving in this game, giving us more of a grasp of the stakes. But what also works well is that up until the third act of the game's story, Chip is not really actually important. He's just someone Sonic is looking out for because of what a noble hero Sonic actually is in this game. This is one of those occasions where Sonic really feels like an actual hero. Chip brings out the best in Sonic, and because Chip is also trying to help Sonic save the world, Sonic brings out the best in Chip. So while you've got all those dire circumstances going on, you've got a bond that actually feels very genuine. Meaning that our stressful, high-stakes, urgent adventure doesn't feel unpleasant at all. Sonic has no actual obligation to help Chip uncover his past, and to treat it as urgently as he did. He's already doing enough, literally pulling the Earth together, but Sonic likes having Chip around, as Chip is the spark of light in this otherwise very dark situation for Sonic to be in, allowing Sonic to actually enjoy this adventure, and thus allowing us the players to enjoy the adventure with them. Then we get the reveal at the Gaia Temple, where the truth about Chip is revealed, and we realize that he's more than just important to Sonic, but is an integral part of the storyline. Dr. Robotnik split the world open because he wanted to harness Gaia energy to power up Eggman Land. At the start of the game, we see Dark Gaia spread out and disperse across the globe, and it has the ability to possess people and take on many forms. It is pure negative energy. Those possessed by it are depressed and hopeless, with the exception of Sonic, who just transforms into a werehog because he's too strong of heart. It's a kid's game. It turns out that the light Gaia in the Earth emerged as well and took on the form of Chip. Chip being sparky and positive, Chip being the light of Sonic's shattered world in this game. Seriously, this game was so well written for what it was. What the hell happened? Baldy McNose! We as the player also get to know Chip for ourselves, as Chip can take part in many of the more casual activities within the game. You can feed him, get his different opinions on world foods, and well, actually that's about it, but I like it. You even get an achievement for being his BFF after feeding him enough stuff that he likes. So obviously, now knowing that he's like Gaia, Chip steps up to help battle Dark Gaia in the center of the Earth for the grand finale. Like how Dark Gaia can take on different forms, so can Light Gaia, as he uses the Gaia temples to form the Gaia Golem, a kaiju flowing with the light energy that can bash the shit out of Dark Gaia, while Super Sonic takes down his shields for the final blows. Now, remember how old school Sonic games really used to make you care for those final battles with kinda sadistic storytelling? Remember how in Sonic 1, before the final boss, Dr. Robotnik sends you back down to the Labyrinth Zone for another round? Here we have cutscenes of Dark Gaia really spreading across the globe as the final piece of the Earth begins to pull further apart from the rest of the world. Sonic and Chip have to take down Dark Gaia in order to restore that last piece of the Earth. Not really relating to Chip so much, but remember how I cited Sonic 3 and Knuckles with the opening cutscene, how Super Sonic gets bashed out of his super form by a villain? Well, remember how in Sonic 3 and Knuckles you get to beat down on Knuckles before the final few acts of the game? The final Dr. Robotnik boss, the Egg Dragoon, you really get to wail on him. Alternative title for this video, Sonic Unleashed is the Sonic 3 and Knuckles of modern Sonic. After the battle is done and Dark Gaia is defeated, we know what has to happen next. Gaia must be sealed back within the core of the Earth, and that includes Light Gaia, so our buddy Chip has to go. And I actually feel something when he does, cause I actually got to care about this character. Now, while Chip was Sonic's companion for this story, the game is well aware that Tails remains Sonic's oldest and arguably most important friend, as after Sonic takes a deep breath ready to move along, he's then accompanied by Tails in the tornado, returning us to the status quo. But it's kind of bittersweet because Chip had arguably the most development of any Sonic character in this one game, maybe even more so than Tails has had in the entire series. But you know what Sega are like, they'll just bring Chip back if the fans want it enough. Well, funny enough, they didn't. Generally speaking, fans didn't take to any part of Sonic Unleashed. Either the whole affair was just lumped in with Sonic 06 and Shadow the Hedgehog, or why the fuck is Sonic a werewolf? So things like Chip kinda just fell to the wayside of Sonic history. Either that or Sega kinda learned a few lessons from Sonic characters that some of them should just stay as one and done, so not to distill their storyline. I mean, also I'd say it's illogical for Chip to come back, but when has Sonic ever actually cared about logic? So Chip isn't totally gone though. He was a statue in Sonic Generations, and was an unlockable character in the mobile game Sonic Runners, a great little game which doesn't exist anymore. I think it's for the best that he doesn't return. As I say, what would he actually do? What would his purpose be? It's done, his story's over, it's completed, and it's a great story. I wouldn't want him relegated to just spouting exposition and sass like poor old Shadow, or, you know, just being a member of a resistance in a future Sonic War game. But honestly, Chip, like the rest of Sonic Unleashed, is horribly underrated, and personally, I feel the immediate rejection of this game and everything that went with it, which, admit it, was all over one concept that takes up less than half the game's overall runtime and works perfectly fine for what it is, this rejection may have cost us a much better Sonic than what we have now. Well, what do you guys think? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video or you want to see more like it, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below are the links to my Patreon and my Twitter. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day. Oh my god, why did I do that? That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you? Because you could get a way better costume from Zentai Zone. Check out their range of custom-made, tailored superhero costumes. Ridiculously good quality, value, and customization. Link is in the description below, as well as my coupon code CHANNELPUP, where you can get a discount off of your purchase. And while you're at it, why not get your suit designed by my talented buddy Dan from New Blood Dan's workshop? You can contact him via the link in the description below. Seriously guys, you do not want to miss out on your chance to be your favorite superhero and feel authentic and professional. And you don't want to miss out on that Channel Pup discount.